Hi, welcome back. And I'm here with, please, we might introduce yourself. For those who don't know you and for those that know you, let them know.
My name is Robert Baker, but I go by Biko. How y'all doing?
Biko. Is that like a nickname, the family name?
Biko is a hip hop name. In the 70s, there was a South African leader named Stephen Biko, who when I was a kid, I really was inspired by. So
You were into hip hop. You said you are not anymore. You used to be. It's over for you.
I don't know if you're ever done with hip hop, but I'm currently not like working with artists or anything like that. Not really. So I have little nephews and stuff I help with, but not like when I was a writer for hip hop magazines or producing live events or not like that as much.
What was one of the artists that you worked with back then that nowadays or in the past were killing it that you can remember of?
Yeah, back in the day, I worked with a whole lot of artists, but one artist name I worked really close with was Exhibit. Another artist I worked really close with is a man by the name of Crondon, who is now on WB as an actor. And of course, the Squad, Cashmere Agency is part of their team. I've worked with Snoop Dogg on different projects going back 10, 15 years. So lots of artists though, and all my Milwaukee artists. Shouts out to Ray Nitty, and of course, the Grammy nominated homie Business Boy. So
Shout out to all of you.
Amen.
You have been around those celebrities, those famous people that a lot of people would wish to be around. What is it that you did to be able to put yourself in that position?
One, I was lucky, because I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I went to school at UCLA, and I had real good grades. So I got a PhD at UCLA, and so I was getting a PhD. Me and my colleagues started a hip hop website. This was like in 2001 by ourselves. We really didn't know what we were doing, and from that website, big editors started finding us, and yeah. So all I did was work hard, and then the main thing I would say is when you meet with celebrities, like don't harass them. If you watch my son, he's real cool and laid back, maybe a little bit too laid back. But that's how I was with celebrities. I didn't get in their faces. I didn't take selfies. I just shook their hands. Never asked them for money. And if you do that, they'll have your back, as long as you have their back and don't tell their stories.
Okay. And you say you built a website and you didn't know what you were doing. So why did you build it? You could have built anything else, but why a website?
Well, I mean, that was 2001, so the web was still growing. So a lot of hip hop at that time wasn't even on the web. We were one of the first two. In fact, the big hip hop websites today, I still am close with the people that owned it.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, we were just trying to get our story out, and we were black kids, and no one was going to give us like our own magazine. So we said, hey, man, we want to create our own thing. And from that magazine, I have interns and former colleagues now who run big hip hop labels, work for big video game agencies. So start your own thing. Work hard. When you're young, you work hard. Don't worry about getting paid. When I worked for those hip hop magazines, it was like 1 year. 1 year I didn't get paid at all.
How did you feel?
I was pissed.
Why did you keep going then?
Because I could take advantage. I leveraged their brand to do what I want.
Wow.
So that's how you do it.
You just said, which I'm glad you said to the people, build your own thing. So what about those that have the mindset or the belief or the feeling that no, it's impossible. I cannot be as big as Nike. I cannot be as big as Kendrick Lamar. Those that limited their own self because they don't see themselves building nothing. What will you tell them?
Well, you're going to work for somebody for the rest of your life. If you do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people want to be workers. That's one thing I've learned over the years. Like, you can try to inspire people to believe in themselves, and some people just want to work.
So not everybody can be an entrepreneur, you mean?
I don't think so. I think you got to have a lot of courage, and then, as you said, you were saying in your interviews, like at 4 o'clock I get up every day. I get up at 5. William knows, like, why are you getting up? I don't know. I want to get it though. It's like planting a farm, Farmers get up at 5. If they don't get up, they don't eat.
Do you work for somebody or have you always worked for yourself?
Well, since I've been 22, it's only been 2 years of my life where I've worked for someone. I worked for a big fancy tech firm for 2 years between 2014 and 2017. And then the owner of it realized that could make a lot more money working for myself. So he gave me $100,000 to start my own thing. But I technically still am a professor. So I guess I do work for
somebody else.
University.
Okay.
But
so with
I don't
that
have a
100,
boss though.
so you are your own boss. Nobody can fire you.
I mean, technically I probably could get fired by the department, but they're not going to fire me.
How does it feel to be your own boss? That's not a thing that a lot of people dream of, but a lot of people don't get there. How does it feel to be your own boss?
Well, I feel blessed, and thankful and grateful. But there's some days where I get scared because what happens is when you're your own boss, you'll go through waves of getting checks in, and then there's this thing that happens where you have like contract signed, and clients haven't paid the check. And so sometimes it gets a little bit scary. Like, yo, you owe me $100,000. If you don't send me this, and then you have to pay your staff. So if you don't have the company's check, and sometimes it's scary.
Back then,
that's why you got to have multiple streams of income too. Like
my
company does video, websites, and we built our own SMS and text platform recently, so we can have the text machine working when we're not working. Go all over the world.
Leverage. Wow.
Come on now.
You just said that at 20, 21, you build your website and you've been working with rappers. How do you see have evolved from what does rapper back in your time? Well, every time is your time. Did that got them successful that you think that rappers nowadays are not doing anymore?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, the thing is with music now is I can get on my computer right here, and within 2 minutes I can make a beat, and it'd be hot. You know what I mean? And I'm not even like the best beat maker.
I believe you are.
No. But I have an ear, and I'm not. That's not my thing. And so, what has happened is technology has given everybody a little bit of talent, and the people that I know that are really, 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 really making it. There's 3 things about them. One, they are not afraid, so can't be afraid. Second thing is, I think that you have to develop your talent, and I think a lot of people are just jumping on and don't have a lot of talent. That's why they go away so fast, And then I think the third thing is they're better with the videos and visuals. So I think there's some things that are better than when I was out there.
Do you think talent is all you need to succeed?
I wish it were. Yeah, sometimes I've learned that the people at the top are not the most talented. In fact, usually the people at the top are the least talented and know the least about what they're doing. But they have the relationships. There's something about them that puts them in control. They usually just have family members, though. It's usually how it works. Family members are homies.
It's a network relationship.
Got to.
So imagine I'm a kid in my village, in my country. I aspire to be a rapper, but in my network there is no rappers, there is no millionaires. Nobody can actually teach me and show me. How would you advise that kid to learn so that kid one day can be in an environment or where he's surrounded by millionaires or other artists?
Yeah, well, is there internet in your village?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get on the internet. Get on the internet, make relationships. Make sure that the people in your community love your music. So don't make music for Chicago if you live in Mozambique. You know what I mean?
Make music for Mozambique.
Yeah, have people at home love you, and then it usually works. That's what we have the saying: specific is the new broad. So the more specific you can get, the more broad you'll go.
Wow, the more specific, the more broad. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Do you remember any story in your journey with hip hop or as an entrepreneur that you, let's say you make an amount of money that you thought was impossible for you to make, or you saw an amount of money that you thought was impossible for you to see?
In 2020, we took on a lot of contracts because of COVID, and 2020, my company made like $1.8 million.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And it was the year before we made $200,000.
Wow.
So then, right now we're making around $750,000 a year. But yeah, I mean, when I made that $1.8 million, it didn't taxes. Oh my gosh, you got to pay people. You don't hold on to it. Biggie said, "More money, more problems," and that is true. And so, my goal right now is to get my companies in a position where I can sell them. That way, I don't have to go back
and work for.
Yeah.
And keep doing it.
Yeah, maybe I'll start something else. But I don't want to.
You will. I believe you can do
There you
anything.
go, Christina. I like your attitude. You got a good attitude.
Thank you. You said more money, more problems. You think that's true?
For sure. Why do you think rappers keep getting killed? A lot of rappers have killed. They're rich.
Jealousy, envy.
Yeah, a lot of rappers. I know a lot of rappers. Used to, in 2012, before Nipsey Hussle was real big, me and my crew threw a community event in LA. It was like with the grassroots. And he came and showed up and talked. It's classic. Like, people in the hood in LA remember this day. And yeah, I mean, he was becoming rich, but he was still in his neighborhood every single day, in the hood. And where he died is super, super hood. And he was just there like he was just a regular cat. And so, if he was anywhere else but there, he'd have been good. So, if you're rich, and you're around, or you're making money and doing well, and your people aren't, you got to be very loving, but sometimes you got to move around.
Wow. Do you think money buy happiness?
Hell no.
Why?
Well, I'm not rich, but once I started making.
You are rich in spirit.
I like that, and I'm rich in ideas, so I'm gonna be rich one day. But once I started making over about a certain amount, my stress level
went up.
Yeah, when I sleep, I think about money. You can ask my girl. There'll be times where I'm just thinking about checks, like 6 months from now. Yeah, it's not. And I've heard a lot of my friends who have made it. When I get above a certain level, and when we were poor, we didn't think like that. We weren't thinking about money. We were thinking like, let's have fun. Let's go to the beach. So, yeah, more money, more problems, for sure.
Since money, you don't think that money buys happiness, what about those that believe that? Where does that belief come? Do you think it's society? Do you think their parent? Do you think it's their friend? Because mostly anyone, unless they don't take time to think about it as you did, can tell you that, yes, money buys happiness. But you have made it, and you have realized it doesn't. But where do you think that feeling, that belief that money makes money come from? It's like something that we're born with.
No, I think it's when you don't have a belief in God or something like. When you get further from God, I think the less happy you are, because when you have gratitude and God, you could be Allah, Christ, Buddha, the universe, a plant, whatever. But as soon as you get away from something that's more powerful than me, the less happy you'll be, because you'll be blaming yourself or blaming other people, and the universe usually always provides, and you gotta be patient. So yeah, people that really love money. In fact, yesterday Jamie Foxx put his first announcement. You know who Jamie Foxx is?
Yeah.
So he did his first announcement after all those times he's been sick. He got sick, and he said, his face is still a little messed up from wherever it happened to him. He said, "Now I'm ready to work." Jamie, you're so stressed out. You have a stroke. You've made hundreds of millions of dollars. Chill out, brother. You don't gotta work. We don't need you to work. But something's calling him to work. It's tough. Sit your ass down, Jamie Foxx. We love you. You don't gotta work, Jamie. Never again. You make Django. We love you, Jamie. Don't hurt yourself.
Don't hurt yourself trying to make more money.
Yeah.
Health comes first. And you mentioned that when people, where we are poor, we think about money. So what is the mindset? What is the belief that you think keep people poor, or the habits or the behavior that keep people poor?
Well, I think it's our habits that sometimes make people poor. I do believe that, but I think the main thing that makes people poor is institutions and society structures. There are people.
Systems.
There are definitely systems out here that are trying to keep people poor, and big corporations don't want people to be rich. You know, that's why they flood poor areas with cigarettes, alcohol.
I noticed that too. At first I thought it was a coincidence, but the more I think, like, you want a specific neighborhood, the first thing you see is multiple junk foods, multiple liquor store, multiple stations where people can do things that don't beneficiate them. And then, for example, me that travel, I have been in other neighborhoods, rich neighborhoods, you can say so. You see, no, there is a hospital. You don't even see a junk food close by. You see supermarket, but supermarkets are clean. You see the areas are clean. But then you go in a different neighborhood, there is drugs everywhere, cigarettes everywhere, alcohol everywhere. Why do you think it's that? Like, is that as you mentioned, that the system wants to, because somebody did build those liquor stores in that specific neighborhood and put those junk food restaurants in that neighborhood. Why is that?
Well, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Let me get my phone because it's ringing.
Sure.
Hold on, we're just doing an interview. You good?
Yeah, you have my phone.
Well, Christina, I did not just get up.
Yes.
I said, oh, my phone, and I saw my sweetie calling me. And then I looked up and I saw my sweetie looking at me. I didn't have to call.
Answer when your wife calls you guys.
Yes, all the time, every time. Lesson number 1. But you know, if you study my degree is in Black American history, and so it's history, but I focus on Black Americans. And if you look at basically the entire time that Black Americans have been here, there have been people, politicians, and systems that have tried to really tear them up, but really in the 1950s and 60s, because Black people were getting a lot of power. So if you look at a lot of the governmental documents, they're saying, do not let Black people come together. It's literally like, don't let a Black leader rise up like Martin Luther King. And so since the 50s and 60s, they've been killing people on purpose. And if you look at the rise of crack cocaine and cocaine in the Black community, they have found that was directly linked to the government.
To the neighborhoods of Black people, so they can have access to it and they can remain
They brought it here.
oppressed.
They brought it here. But they did it to fight a war in South America. So they sold the drugs in the hood.
And with that money, they
fought
fought
a war in South America. So, yeah. Not an accident. But there are habits that keep people poor. Because right now, in my community at least, you know, when my dad grew up, he was poor. He had holes in his shoes. And one thing I've realized from my parents to me is my parents, they think about saving and not spending money and not really investing in themselves. Even my son, some of the soccer stuff, they're like, why do you do that? It's expensive. And I'm like, well, you got to spend money to make money. And you got to invest in yourself. So invest in yourself, invest your time and money.
Then and even though I do agree that there is system, constitutions put into play to keep you poor, I also believe that we have a sense of responsibility, a high sense of responsibility, our own mindset, as you said, our own habits, our own behaviors. Even people tend to go to let me blame the government, let me blame my family, let me blame my friends, but they are not blaming themselves. If you know that there is a system trying to keep you poor and you keep entertaining that system, who are you going to blame? At the end of the day, it's your fault, because you can do different, you can think different, and because at least I know, maybe because I know myself too much, I know the things that I can do that are gonna keep me where I don't want to be, and since I'm aware of those things, I don't do those things. But if you ask, say we find somebody, what is keeping you poor? They know what is keeping them poor, and they still choose to do it. Why?
Yeah, no, you can't save everybody. You know, that's the tough thing. Everybody doesn't want to be saved. And I used to spend a lot of time trying to save people.
I think I'm still do.
Yeah, no, you save yourself. And then once
First.
you save yourself, you can, like on the plane, they say, put your mask on and then help
Help
others.
the others. Start with you, with you first.
Yeah, till you can help yourself all the way.
If there anything you will do differently, if you can go back in time and you see how the world have evolved, what would you do differently back then?
I wouldn't do too much different, but when I quit playing college soccer when I was 20 because I didn't like my teammates, and I played at a really good school, and I quit, And I wish I would have done that because for like 10 years I was dreaming about it, being mad and angry. And then, but when I was a kid, you couldn't make a lot of money
with soccer.
Yeah, so I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was just thinking
Fun, entertainment.
Yeah, man. But shit, woo, man. Yeah, man. I wouldn't have quit. And then another thing is a great man. His son was here yesterday. There's a great man from Milwaukee named Jimmy Banks. And he grew up pretty much in my neighborhood, and he ended up playing in the World Cup, and he was the first American ever to get recruited to play in Europe. Wow. He's from the hood, too. He was like, he's from the hood.
But he still...
He died. And but before I went to L.A., he offered me a house and a good job to coach with him full-time at a college. And I said, you know what, Jimmy? I don't want to be a soccer coach my whole life. I'm out of here. And my whole life, I've been a soccer coach pretty much. So I wish I would have figured out a way to hook up with him.
Your passion.
Yeah. But God is good. I'm blessed. And I can hire his son to be my coach. So.
Wow. You just mentioned that you dream of soccer. And do you, for those that have passions, but let's say, oh, my passion is not making money. Oh, people are not supporting me. People don't believe in me and they quit, they give up. What will you tell them? Or if you had a passion, what will you do to make sure that you make it come true?
One time I had this famous writer named Stan Greenlee who wrote this book called The Spook Who Sat by the Door. And he said, you have writing or doing your thing that you got to do for a job. That's your occupation. Mm-hmm. But your vocation is whatever you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. So you can be a cook and still be passionate about writing. You can be a professor and still be passionate about playing soccer. You can be you could be a tech worker and still be passionate about working with kids. So you could have an occupation and a vocation. Mm-hmm. And if you just have an occupation, you're not going to be happy. If you just have a vocation, you're probably not going to have money. So you got to balance that, especially until you have kids. Once you have kids, everything pretty much goes out the way. But if you spend your time, occupation, vocation, passion versus pockets, you'll be all right.
How do you balance it? And then you personally, how do you balance? Because no, I only focus on my passion because I have this dream, I have this goal, but they don't have even money to invest in those passions, to invest in those dreams, to invest in those goals.
You gotta have, like you do, wake up at 4, work out, and then spend 8 hours a day doing the thing that's putting something in your pocket. Do 8 hours a day doing something that's bringing you life, and then you'll be good. But if you spend 8 hours a day working and 8 hours a day partying, if you spend 8 hours a day working and 8 hours a day like chasing women or men or both, trying to go on dates every single day. Mm-hmm. Like, I got homies that got plenty wives and no money, So
ouch.
The passion was women.
You say you have history in Black history. I think you are familiar with the lack of, let's say, black. I don't even like to use the word black to define us, but I'm going to use it so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. There is a lack of black fatherhood in the community, which make black young kings and queens end up not where they're supposed to end up. What are your thoughts on the lack of black fatherhood, and what would you tell to the young kings that don't have a father? What would you tell them so they can succeed in life?
One thing I'm seeing now is that there are more black dads taking care of their kids. When we do our soccer stuff for the community,
Great.
I see dads bringing their daughters and sons more than ever, like younger ones. But my dad was awesome, but he didn't have his dad, and I could see sometimes it really affected him. But he's still an awesome man. So once you have a kid, though, there's nothing more powerful than your kid. That's how and not everybody is meant to be a parent. But if you are a parent, and you have a kid, that's your blessing from God, because you'll be able to see your daughter or son, and see where yourself is at that age. And so you get to learn. So, yeah, but I don't mess with people. And sometimes there's reasons why you can't mess with your kids. Like if you're a dad or even a mom. But if you can and you don't take care of your kid, I can't mess with you. You're a loser to me. Loser.
So no one can be a parent. Can you explain that? Because I think everyone believe they can and they deserve to be parents. But you just said that not everyone is meant to be a parent. That statement right there, a lot of people are gonna put it over their head. Can you explain on that? Because I agree, by the way, not everyone can be a parent. No, and not everyone should be a parent. Because I have seen how parents treat their kids, and I'm like, if you knew you were gonna treat him like that, don't need him bring to the world. He doesn't deserve that, or she doesn't deserve that.
I just think a lot of people are selfish, and I think the more we get connected to the internet, the more we get connected to trying to make a lot of money, the more selfish we get. So, yeah, if you want to have kids, I encourage you to like hang out with your nephews or your homies, 2-year-old or 1-year-old. Don't do no 10-year-old or 14-year-old. Go with a baby, 18 months, 12 months, and then look at how they are so entirely dependent on you. And realize, man, you don't have to do that. You could, we live in a time where there's so many kids that aren't getting love from their parents that you could change a whole community if you don't have a kid just by loving the community. So, but once you have a kid, your life changes so much. So if you do it right, then you get your time back, but don't do it if you ain't ready. And don't do it if you're selfish. And don't do it if you don't like kids. Don't do it if you want to yell at a kid. Don't do it if you have doing drugs, party. Don't do it if you like to go to the club. People have kids and still go to the club like every night.
What are your thoughts on that? Maybe they think that the kids can be on their own and they should put. What are your thoughts on that?
Happens a lot. Yeah, I don't do that.
I can see, and I'm not saying this because he's here and he's on camera. The way he treats his kids.
Thank you, I appreciate that. He's getting older and more quiet, so I'm gonna have to wrestle him. He used to be real smiley all the time. Now he just.
Maybe he take it from you. Don't he take it from you?
Oh,
because
yeah.
we heritage some things from our parents.
He gets it from my dad.
Ooh.
And me too. When I'm in, my dad is like. One time these guys almost hit our car. My dad got out of the car.
My God.
It was like 2 dudes. And he put him out of the car. Other dude came out of the car. Boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Oh man, my dad is cold, boy. He'll hug you and hurt you at the same time. I love my dad.
Oh wow. What is the message for present and future artists that want to make it, want to make money, they want to live of their arts? What advice would you tell them?
There's this phrase that I heard, like, you can't be a half a gangster. Like, you can't, like, either you're a gangster or you're not. You know what I mean? If you're not a gangster, don't step in the gangster streets. And I think that's the same thing with artists. Like, if you're not an artist, you can't be half an artist. Now, you can have other jobs, like I said, occupations and vocations, but if you're an artist, you have to commit to doing that and believing in yourself. Like my man, Ray Nitty, who was here DJing with us for us last night, this man constantly is writing. I mean, he's got one song that's got like 10 million views, and people know him from that song, but he's written hundreds of songs.
Wow.
Hundreds for people,
Wow.
And every day he's writing, making beats.
Wow.
People don't know he's addicted to it. So if you want to be an artist, you have to art, draw, whatever. You got to do it every single day. Every single day. If not, you ain't going to catch up. I mean, maybe now, maybe you got like a network or a homie or something like that that's going to put you on, but you're not going to stay. There's a song on Drake's album one time from Nothing Was the Same where his dad says, only the real music will last. All this other shit is here today and gone tomorrow.
Gone tomorrow. The flashy. I want to go viral today and then that's it. I want chasing the easy stuff. If you're chasing the easy stuff, you're going to have a hard life.
Amen.
It's not going to last. I don't think it will. How do you approach failures and mistakes? Because that's something that, at least for even if you're not an artist, is holding a lot of people back. Oh, I made this failure, I made this mistake. How do you approach it as a dad, as a producer, as an artist, as a boss? How you approach failures, mistakes?
I told you after everything that has come to me is because me and my homeboy were like, we're going to build a website.
And you didn't know what you were doing.
Hell no. And we said, we're going to fake it till we make it. You know, we were just some kids from the Midwest too. We weren't from LA. We were going to, hey, Snoop, hey, Game, hey, YG, you know, all these Ice Cube, Exhibit, all these big guys. We got this stuff for y'all. We're going to do it. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. For sure. We didn't know, and we didn't care. Because if we were faking it, we were comfortable with that. And so I think you got to fail often and fail fast. Like, that's not working, that's not working. And know when you're failing. A lot of times people won't pay attention, and they'll just keep doing the same thing. And so it's like, for me, I always put things in number. How many phone calls does it take for me to get a client? How many days does it take for me to get the contracts in? So just start adding that stuff up, putting numbers to it, and you'll know if you're being successful. But you gotta fail. Don't be afraid.
That's a huge work ethic. You were comfortable with people telling you no, we don't want your website. You were comfortable with people rejecting you.
Every day. At my current job, I get told no 50 times to get one yes.
And you're still going. Like, what get you going after so many no's? Most people will stop after the two first no's, but you don't. You keep going. Why? How? What gets you going?
Because I know what those yeses feel like. You know what I'm saying? Got an OG. He said, all I needed was one motherfucker to tell me yes. That's what he said. All you need is one yes.
The rest, and the yes are going to outward the no. You won't even remember who tell you no once you're already making whatever you want to make. Think about it.
That's right.
For my last question, because I know I respect your time.
No worries.
How do I say? We're gonna take away from what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think I did. See, for me, just getting into me, because right now I'm learning too, but I'm trying to make other people that want to watch this interview learn as well. My mind just. Oh, it was about work ethic. You said you 20. How many emails and messages you send at least a day or a month just to have new customers? Or do you just be like, oh, I'm gonna do it today and tomorrow no, because you say you can do it half? But in your position, do you feel like you have to do it, or do you feel like even if you don't do it, you're still gonna have revenue?
Yeah, I mean, I have a day job as a professor. That's pretty good, but I still send out hundreds of emails, hundreds. I mean, you look at my phone, you know, in a day, you know, I get 20, 30 texts, 100 emails. And I learned this thing from this guy who's a big famous music producer named Steve Stout. And I heard him say this when I was like in an interview in like 2001. He responds to everybody, like an intern or a CEO, because you never know when the intern will become the CEO. So you have to treat everybody with respect and respond. Even if you say, hey, you know, I'm really busy right now, call me back in 6 months, you know. And the times that I haven't responded to people is when sometimes people be mad. So you got to stay on your phone and email. Don't ignore people. Jimmy Banks, who I talked about when I moved to LA, the first thing before I moved, he said, Bobby Baker, don't burn any bridges. You know, I remember that to this day.
Can you spin on that? Don't burn any bridges.
You'll never know when the intern becomes a CEO. Never know. You'll never know. I have an intern right now I have a homeboy that used to be my intern. I mean, he's worked with Michael Jordan, Future. Name a rapper from Atlanta. He's worked with them. Migos.
Wow.
Anybody, Rick Ross.
Used to be your intern.
Yeah, what if I'd have treated this kid like a crappy intern? Go grab my juice. What if I'd have been an asshole to him? You know what I mean? But I was like, hey, man. And now if I need anything, hey, bro, put me on the website or connect me with this famous person, or I got an event. I don't have 20,000. You think we could talk to them, do it for 10? I got you, B. I got you. He's way more powerful than I ever was in hip hop.
But he was your intern.
Come on now. But I treated him like he was my, you know, I don't treat anybody like they're your little homie or your lackey, because you never know. You never know what could happen. They might be your boss one day.
There you go. We might be the person you have to do business with one day.
Yeah.
My last question was, where do you see yourself in 20 years? And whatever you say now is going to happen.
Well, in 20 years, I'll be 65. Oh my gosh. Let me say bye to Raul.
Okay. Oh.
Thanks for coming, man. Hey, you're
thank
close,
you,
man. Hit me
Yeah,
up.
no,
Remember here?
if I'm over here, I'll definitely give you a call.
This is kind
All
of
right.
his studio.
And when I put on, I might hit you up.
Nah,
Keep
if
me,
you ever down there, let me know.
keep me updated on your successes too, like
Yeah,
what you're
for sure.
doing. If
You
you,
guys as well.
You're gonna
Keep
be
us up-
successful.
Keep us updated with Bobby as well. Keep us up with his progress and everything. Like that's what. Tell him we want a shirt when he makes it.
all right,
He will
appreciate
make
you.
it.
Yes,
Tell him I want
appreciate
a
you.
shirt.
Yeah,
Tell him I
all
want a
right,
shirt.
thank you. Tell him he's just a teenager. He's shy. He's really shy.
Got it.
What were you saying now?
20 years from today, whatever you say is gonna happen.
20 years. 20 years.
We are back. So 20 years from today, whatever you say is gonna happen. By the way,
I like that you're saying that because I believe that to be true. So you got to speak everything into existence. In 20 years, this is my dream. 20 years. In 5 years, I want to sell my tech company, software. In 2 years, really, but 5 years, let's sell it. I'm going to sell between 10 and 20 million. I'm hoping 50, but at least 10 to 20. So in 20 years, I'll still have a job. I'll be but I want to start a soccer school for kids from the hood. So if I can make enough money to endow this thing, I will do that.
you will.
I appreciate it. It's been my dream.
You wanna make the soccer team here, or you think you're gonna start here and then spread it all over United States?
I think I would like to prove it that we can do it here because Milwaukee's got a lot of problems. So if we can figure it out here, we can figure it out anywhere. But yeah, I think Black Americans would be amazing at soccer, and we're just slow to get into it. And we got it here because we had Jimmy Banks, and so I'm trying to bring that Jimmy Banks love.
I mean, see, how was to work with him and to be around him?
He was a superstar. He's a superstar, and he died of cancer when he was only 55. Yeah, but a lot of people in this community, a lot of people around the world too. Any black soccer player that played for the United States will say, man, this guy was a superhero. So, love you, Jimmy.
We still remember you. Your legacy is still on.
Come on now, still around.
This is the last question. Usually when people hear the name Hood, they only imagine people who are useless, powerless, meaningless, dirty, ugly. And that's not the conception, because even though you are at the hood, you're still powerful, you're still worthy, you're still good enough, no matter where you are. So what will you tell to those in the hood that they think or they believe that they cannot succeed, they cannot make money, they cannot be happy, they cannot build a business, or they cannot change the story of black people in America?
Yeah, man. I mean, all my friends are from the hood or somewhere like close to the hood. You know, all of us. And I've seen these brothers make it. You know what I mean? I'm talking about people with single moms, single dads, people who grew up with uncles that were on drugs. I have homeboys that were real life criminals as kids who have turned their life around. So the hood is a beautiful thing. A hood mentality can be a beautiful thing as long as it's not negative. Being hungry, being respectful, knowing that people can take you out, you know, that is powerful. You know, you're on the warrior's mentality. As long as you're not fighting your own people, you can do a lot with that. So, yeah, don't believe everything you see on the internet. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. I learned a lot, and I know you all did too. And in 20 years, come back and watch this video, because whatever he said, accomplish it in so much more. He might be his private jet the next time we do a video. Anything is possible. See? See you all later. And if this video was valuable to you, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Bye.